Evan Carter stood alone on the edge of the mining platform, watching the orange glow of the gas giant spin slowly in the sky. It was a quiet night. Too quiet. He was a human engineer, working on a small outpost deep in neutral space. The outpost was old, rusty, and mostly forgotten. He came here to be alone, away from Earth, away from people. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the ground. He turned quickly. A trail of smoke was falling from the sky, heading straight for the rocky hills near the station. A ship was crashing. Evan grabbed his toolkit and jumped into his buggy. The crash site was only a few kilometers away. He drove fast, heart pounding. Ships didn't just fall from the sky in this quiet zone. As he reached the crash site, he saw a silver pod-shaped ship half buried in the dirt, its hull cracked and smoking. Strange blue sparks danced across its surface. This wasn't a human ship. He stepped closer, carefully. The ship's door was partly open, and inside he saw a figure, tall, slender, and clearly injured. It was a woman. No, not a woman, an alien. Her skin was a soft, rich teal color, smooth and glowing under the moonlight. She had long, dark hair braided with silver beads, and her uniform was torn at the shoulder. Her eyes opened slowly, big, clear, and glowing a faint violet. Evan froze. She was the most beautiful creature he had ever seen. "Are you okay?" Evan asked, stepping inside the pod. The alien woman blinked. Then a soft voice came from a small device on her chest. It translated her words. "I am alive. My ship is damaged. I need assistance." "I can help," Evan said quickly. "I'm an engineer. I live nearby." She tried to sit up but winced in pain. "You are human?" "Yes," he said. "Evan Carter, from Earth." She looked at him closely. "I am Lyra Nay, scout of the Varelian Star Assembly." Evan had heard of the Varelians, a mysterious alien race, peaceful but secretive. They never showed themselves to humans directly, until now. He helped her out of the pod, carefully supporting her weight. She was light, almost like she floated. She didn't resist his touch, but her eyes stayed cautious. Back at the outpost, Evan gave her a place to rest. His station was small, with only 2 rooms and a control center. He set her down gently on a cot and began treating her wounds with the medical kit. Her injuries weren't too bad, bruised ribs, a few cuts, but she clearly wasn't used to human medicine. She asked questions about every tool. "You trust me so quickly?" she asked, watching him patch her shoulder. Evan smiled. "You didn't crash here to kill me, right?" Lyra tilted her head. "No." "Then that's enough for me." Over the next few days, Lyra recovered slowly. Her ship was badly damaged, and Evan told her it might take a week or more to fix it. In that time, they talked. She told him about Varelia, her homeworld full of glowing forests and crystal cities. Her people were calm, quiet, and followed strict traditions. They didn't show emotions. Touch was rare, affection even rarer. Evan told her about Earth, about laughter, food, music, and messy human feelings. She listened with a curious smile. One evening, they sat outside together watching the stars. Lyra looked peaceful, sitting cross-legged on the ground, her face lit by the soft blue light of the gas giant. Evan glanced at her. "You ever seen a human before?" "Only in files. I studied your species before I came here." But none of it explained this. She waved a hand toward the stars. "The quiet, the peace." He looked at her, her soft features calm under the night sky. He felt his heart beat faster. "Can I ask you something strange?" Evan said nervously. She looked at him. "You may." He laughed nervously, then asked, "If I kissed you, how would you react?" Silence. The stars still shimmered above them, and the wind whispered through the rocks. But Lyra didn't answer. Her face didn't change. Then she finally spoke. In my culture, a kiss is not small. It is a vow. Evan blinked. A vow? Yes. A kiss is a soul bond. It is done only once in a lifetime. We do not kiss casually. It means connection forever. Evan's mouth went dry. He hadn't expected that. I didn't mean to offend, he stammered. It was just a question. Half a joke, really. She looked at him deeply, her violet eyes glowing faintly. I am not offended, she said. I am surprised. Why? Because part of me wondered how it would feel. Evan looked at her, speechless. He didn't know what to say. His heart pounded in his chest. She looked away, then stood up slowly. I need rest, she said softly. Good night, Evan. She walked back into the station, leaving him alone under the stars, full of thoughts and feelings he couldn't explain. That night, Evan couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in his mind. A kiss is a soul bond. I am surprised. I wondered how it would feel. He had come to this lonely place to escape feelings. But now, something strange and beautiful had fallen from the sky, and everything was changing. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing for sure. Lyra was more than just a visitor. She was already pulling him into a world he never expected, and deep down, he wanted to follow. Evan woke early the next morning. The outpost was quiet, and the sky outside was still dark. He hadn't slept much. Lyra's words from the night before kept playing in his head. A kiss is a soul bond. I am surprised. Part of me wondered how it would feel. He never thought one question, half a joke, could lead to something so serious. For humans, a kiss was often sweet, warm, or playful. But for Lyra, it meant something far deeper, a connection forever. He walked to the main control room and began running scans on her ship again. It was still badly damaged. The core was stable, but the power lines, navigation system, and outer hull all needed work. After a while, Lyra entered the room quietly. She wore a long gray cloak now, one she had found in a storage locker. It made her look even more elegant, like a royal visitor from another world. Good morning, she said softly. Morning, Evan replied, trying to sound casual. How are you feeling? Better. Your medicines helped, he smiled. Glad to hear that. There was a short pause. Then she stepped closer to the control panel. About last night, she began, voice calm but serious. Evan froze for a second, then nodded. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I didn't mean to make things uncomfortable, she said. It's just, your question touched something I did not expect. You didn't offend me either, Evan replied. Honestly, I didn't know how important it was to your people. I was just trying to be close to you. She looked at him with soft eyes. You are unlike any human I studied. You don't hide your feelings. Evan chuckled. Humans are messy. We feel too much, say the wrong things, and still hope we're understood. Lyra tilted her head. On Virelia, we are trained from childhood to control our emotions. Joy, sorrow, affection, they are private, only shared in rare moments. That sounds lonely. It is safe, she replied. But yes, sometimes it is lonely. They worked together for the rest of the morning. Evan explained how some of the equipment on her ship could be replaced with parts from the mining station. Lyra, in turn, showed him Varelian tools, sleek, quiet machines that used energy in ways he had never seen before. She was brilliant. She moved with grace, fixed things with precision, and never wasted a word. But every now and then, she would glance at Evan and smile, just a little. It made his heart beat faster. Later that day, they ate together. Evan made a simple human meal: rice, beans, and some dried fruit. Lyra tasted everything carefully. "This is strange," she said after the first bite. "Bad strange or good strange?" "Warm strange," she answered. "Like a memory I never had." Evan laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment." They talked more. Lyra asked questions about Earth, what oceans looked like, how music sounded, what it felt like to dance. Evan played a song on his old device, a soft guitar tune, peaceful and slow. Lyra listened with her eyes closed. "Why do you humans make music?" she asked. "To feel less alone," he said. "Sometimes music says things we can't." She nodded slowly. "On my planet we have soundscapes, but not like this." "Would you like to dance?" Evan asked, half joking again. Lyra looked surprised. "I do not know how." "I can teach you." He reached out a hand. She looked at it, then slowly placed her own hand in his. Her fingers were soft and cool. They stood in the center of the room, swaying gently to the music. Lyra was stiff at first, but soon her body relaxed. Her eyes never left his. There was no perfect rhythm, no fancy steps, just two beings from different worlds sharing one quiet moment. After the song ended, she let go slowly. Her face was calm, but her voice trembled just a little. "I felt something," she whispered. "So did I," Evan said, his voice low. That evening, they went outside again. The stars were brighter than before, like they were watching. "Do you miss your home?" Evan asked. "Yes," Lyra said. "But this place, it's different. You are different." "How so?" "You ask questions. You show care. You give trust so easily." He smiled. "Maybe that's a weakness." "Or a strength," she replied. There was a long pause. Then she said, "You asked me how I would react to a kiss. I told you the truth, but I did not tell you everything." Evan looked at her, curious. "What else?" She turned toward him. "My people fear bonding with outsiders. We think emotions make us weak. But I do not believe that anymore." "Because of me?" "Because of how I feel around you," she said. "You make me curious. You make me feel seen." Evan's heart pounded again. "Lyra, I don't want to rush you or make things harder." She stepped closer. "You didn't make things harder. You opened something in me I didn't know was there." For a moment, they stood very close. The space between them was small but full of meaning. Evan almost leaned in, but then she gently touched his arm. "Not yet," she said, "but soon. I need to understand this feeling more." He nodded. "I'll wait." They looked up at the stars together. For the first time, silence felt full, not empty. Later that night, Lyra recorded a message to her people. She told them she was safe, that her ship was being repaired, and that she had made contact with a human. She didn't tell them everything, not yet. She looked out the window at Evan, who was checking the power lines outside. He moved with patience and kindness. A simple man in a simple world. But to her, he was something rare. The next day brought cold winds and cloudy skies. Evan pulled his jacket tighter as he worked outside near the crash site. Lyra's ship still lay buried halfway in the dirt, its surface scratched and burned. But thanks to their teamwork, progress was being made. Inside the pod, Lyra was fixing the ship's inner systems. Her long fingers moved quickly across the glowing panels. Every now and then, she stopped and looked outside at Evan. In only a few days, something had changed between them. The quiet looks, the soft words, the trust, they all meant something now. Something deeper. When Evan walked into the ship's cabin holding a tray of warm food, she looked up and smiled. "You brought supplies?" "Food," Evan said, placing the tray beside her. Not as fancy as Varelian energy tablets, but I promise it won't poison you. I am beginning to like your food, she said with a gentle smile. He sat beside her. For a moment, they ate in silence. Then she spoke. I've been thinking about your question. Evan paused. The kiss? Yes, she said. On Varelia, we have a ceremony, a bond ritual. If two souls wish to connect, they speak the ritual together. Is it like a wedding? Evan asked. She shook her head. No. It's more ancient than marriage. It is private, sacred. Two people promise understanding, not ownership. It is a deep connection. We call it Vel Tarai. Have you ever done it? He asked softly. No, Lyra said. I was trained for duty, not love. But now, I wonder. Evan looked into her eyes. What would it mean if we did it? She held his gaze. It would mean we share our truths. No lies, no masks. We open ourselves completely. That sounds scary. It is, she whispered. But also beautiful. That night, they sat on the cliff behind the station, where the stars shined clear. The sky was dark and wide, filled with distant galaxies. It was the perfect place for silence and honesty. Lyra reached into her cloak and pulled out a small, glowing stone. This is a memory crystal, she said. Virelians use it during Veltarai. What does it do? It records feelings, not thoughts, just emotions. If you hold it while speaking your truth, it glows in your color. Evan held out his hand. She placed the crystal in his palm. It glowed a faint golden hue. Lyra's eyes widened. Gold means hope and kindness. Evan gave a shy smile. What color is yours? She touched the crystal. It changed to deep violet. Violet means curiosity, she said, and longing. They sat close, holding the crystal together. The colors mixed into a warm swirl. I'll go first, Evan said. He took a deep breath. I came out here to escape people. I thought being alone would help me heal. But instead I met you, and now I don't want to be alone anymore. Lyra listened, silent but open. He continued, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that when I'm near you, I feel seen, like I matter, like there's something bigger than me out there, and I finally touched it. Lyra's hand gently squeezed his. Then it was her turn. I was sent here to observe, she said softly, to learn about humans, judge if you were dangerous. But what I found was not danger. I found warmth in your actions, in your eyes. Evan stayed still, listening. I was taught that emotions are messy, but you showed me they can be strong. That caring for someone is not weakness. It is courage. The crystal pulsed brighter between them. Then she whispered, Evan, if I kissed you, now I know how I would react. He turned to her. How? I would accept the bond. She said, with joy and fear, but also with heart. He reached forward. His fingers brushed her cheek. Are you sure? She nodded. Yes. But just as their lips were about to meet, boom! A loud blast echoed from the other side of the station. They both jumped to their feet. What was that? Evan shouted. Lyra's eyes narrowed. That's a Varelian engine. Pulse. One of our ships just arrived. They ran to the landing pad. A sleek silver starship hovered over the outpost, then slowly landed with a hum. The air crackled with energy. From the hatch, 3 armored Varelian officers stepped out. Tall, serious, and not smiling. Lyra Nai, one of them said. You broke contact for 6 rotations. We feared the worst. I was injured, she said firmly, but I survived, thanks to this human. The officer looked at Evan with cold eyes. You bonded with him? Lyra stood taller. Not yet, but I considered it. The lead officer frowned. That is forbidden. The council does not allow outside bonding. He saved my life, Lyra said. He cared for me, and he never asked for anything in return. That is not our way. Maybe our way needs to change, she said quietly. Another officer stepped forward. You must return home immediately. The human will forget this. Evan spoke up. She's not a prisoner. The officer ignored him. Lyra, please, you are respected. Do not throw it all away. Lyra looked at Evan, then back at her people. I am Varelian, she said. But I am also something more now. I have seen the stars through new eyes. I have felt something real. She walked to Evan and stood beside him. I will return, she told the officers. But I will not forget him, and if the council wishes to judge me for feeling, let them. The officers looked at each other. Then the leader gave a short nod. You have one day. They turned and entered the ship. The engines hummed, and soon the vessel lifted back into the sky. Evan stood beside Lyra, unsure what to say. You don't have to choose me, he said softly. Just choose what's right for you. Lyra turned to him, her face full of calm strength. I already have. Then she held out the glowing crystal again. Will you share your truth with me once more? Evan smiled. Every day if you'll let me. They stood together under the stars, the crystal glowing gold and violet between them. A bond not yet sealed, but growing stronger with every heartbeat. The next morning, the sun rose slow and soft over the rocky hills. Evan stood outside, fixing a broken antenna. But his mind was somewhere else. His thoughts kept returning to Lyra, her words, her choice, and what would happen next. She had only one day left. Then the Varelian ship would return, and she would have to decide. Stay or leave, bond, or walk away. Inside the station, Lyra stood in front of a mirror. She wore her clean uniform now, the dark fabric lined with thin silver lines that shimmered under the lights. She looked like a proper scout again. But her eyes weren't the same. Something inside her had changed. She touched the glowing memory crystal resting on the table. The colors inside were still swirling, gold and violet, hope and longing. A small voice inside her whispered, You already know your answer. Evan returned inside. He found her sitting at the table holding the crystal gently in both hands. You look serious, he said with a small smile. I have to speak with the council, she said. Now. Evan nodded. Okay, I'll give you space. But Lyra shook her head. No, I want you to hear it too. She pressed a small button on the side of the crystal. A blue hologram appeared, showing the faces of 5 Varelian elders, tall, elegant beings with silver skin and calm expressions. One of them, an older woman with sharp eyes, spoke. Lyra Nai, we have received your message. You have recovered? Yes, Lyra said firmly, with help from a human. The elders glanced at each other. And this human, he is the one you wish to bond with? Lyra didn't hesitate. Yes. There was a long silence. One of the male elders frowned. You are aware that such a bond is forbidden under the Star Assembly's traditions. I am aware, she replied. But I also know that our ways are built on fear. Fear of pain. Fear of loss. Fear of change. You speak boldly, the female elder said. Are you prepared to face the consequences? I am, Lyra said, and I ask the council to listen, not just with your ears, but with your hearts. She turned to Evan and nodded. Evan stepped forward. His voice was calm but full of feeling. Didn't ask for this. I didn't expect to feel this way. But from the moment Lyra entered my life, I've seen the galaxy differently. She's strong, kind, brave. And if she chooses to bond with me, I will honor that with every part of who I am. Another long silence followed. Then the eldest of the group leaned forward. Very well. The council will consider this request. Until then, Lyra, your time is your own. The hologram faded. Lyra turned to Evan and let out a long breath. It is done? Evan looked at her with soft eyes. How do you feel? I feel free, she whispered. That afternoon, they walked to a small ridge above the crash site. The wind blew gently through Lyra's hair. Evan stood beside her, their shoulders almost touching. Before I came here, Lyra said, I thought I understood the galaxy. I followed orders. I studied cultures. But I never really felt anything. And now? Evan asked. Now I feel everything, she said with a smile. It is both terrifying and beautiful. They sat down together on a flat rock. Lyra looked up at the sky. When I leave, will you come with me? Evan blinked. What? You asked me once if I would stay. But now I ask you, will you come with me, Evan Carter? To my world, my people. Evan's heart raced. Are you sure? I mean, your people. They don't like humans. Not yet, she said. But maybe if they meet you, that will change. He laughed softly. You want to use me as your emotional ambassador? I want you beside me, she replied. Whatever comes next. Evan looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Yes, I'll go. Lyra smiled. She reached into her cloak and pulled out the crystal again. Then let's make the bond. Not by kiss. Not yet. But with truth. She held it between them. Say your truth, Evan. He took a breath. You've opened my heart. You've shown me that connection is more than words. I care about you deeply. And wherever you go, I want to be there too. The crystal glowed golden. She held it next. I never knew the meaning of trust before I met you. I never knew what it meant to want someone near, not for duty, but for comfort. I do not know what the future holds, but I know you are part of it. The crystal swirled with gold and violet light, brighter than ever before. Lyra looked into Evan's eyes. I am ready. That night, the Varelian ship returned. It hovered slowly over the cliffs and lowered its ramp. The same officers stepped out, but this time they did not carry judgment in their eyes. Lyra, the lead officer said. The council gives conditional approval. What conditions? She asked. You will return and explain your experience in person, and the human will be observed, not rejected. That is acceptable, she said. Evan stepped forward. Guess I'm going to meet the in-laws, huh? Lyra smiled. Something like that. They entered the ship together, side by side. The halls inside were bright and silent, filled with the soft hum of Varelian tech. Evan had never seen anything like it. Some crew members stared, others whispered, but no one stopped them. In the guest chamber, Lyra turned to Evan. Are you nervous? Yes, he admitted. But not because I doubt us. Then we are ready, she said. She leaned forward, not for a kiss but for a forehead touch, a Varelian sign of closeness. Evan gently touched his forehead to hers. It was soft, quiet, full of meaning, and perfect. Far above, the stars watched, in silence. Two lives from two worlds had met, learned, and now walked forward together, not as strangers but as something more. The Varelian starship glided smoothly through space, heading toward Lyra's homeworld. Inside, the halls were quiet, and silver-blue lights glowed softly along the walls. Everything felt peaceful, but Evan's heart beat faster with every step. It was his first time leaving human space, his first time walking on an alien ship. And more importantly, it was his first time walking into a new future, beside Lyra. She stayed close to him, guiding him through the corridors. Most of the crew still stared at him, but no one spoke against him now. The crystal bond between Lyra and Evan was known. And in Varelian culture, a bond, once formed, was respected. They reached a private room near the center of the ship. It was Lyra's personal quarters. Inside, everything was quiet and clean. Soft, glowing plants lined the walls. A clear window showed the stars outside, passing slowly as the ship moved through the galaxy. Lyra sat down on a low couch, motioning for Evan to sit beside her. "You've been quiet," she said. "I'm just trying to take it all in," Evan replied. "This ship, your people, the stars flying past, it's like a dream." She nodded. "It feels like a dream for me too, but it's real. And soon we'll be home." Evan looked out the window. "What's going to happen when we land?" "I'll speak to the council directly. I'll tell them everything that happened. How you helped me, how you treated me, how you didn't ask for anything, but gave everything." Evan smiled. "You make me sound like some kind of hero." "You were my hero," she said quietly. He looked at her, and his heart swelled. She was strong and calm, but around him, she let her emotions show. He felt honored by that. "Will they really accept us?" he asked. "They will listen," she said. "That's all we can ask." The ship arrived at Virelia the next day. The planet was unlike anything Evan had seen. Giant forests of glowing blue trees stretched across the land. Rivers flowed like silver threads, and crystal towers rose high into the sky, shining under the light of 3 moons. As they descended into the capital city, Evan pressed his hand to the window. "It's beautiful," Lyra smiled. "Welcome to my home." They landed in a quiet section of the city near the council chambers. Guards escorted them, but not with force, only formality. Inside, the council chamber was tall and circular. The 5 elders stood at the center, surrounded by soft light and vines that grew along the walls like living artwork. Lyra stepped forward with confidence. "I come with the human," she said. "We have completed Veltarai. Our bond is true." The lead elder, the woman with sharp eyes, stepped closer. "We have read your reports. We have listened to your recordings. But now, we wish to see the truth, with our own hearts." Lyra nodded. "Then we will show it." She held out the memory, crystal. Evan touched it beside her. The crystal began to glow, gold and violet, stronger than ever before. Together, they spoke. "I am seen. I am understood. I am not alone." The light from the crystal spread across the room. The elders stood silently, watching the glow with wide eyes. After a long moment, the lead elder spoke. "This is not weakness. This is strength." She turned to the others. They nodded. "The bond is approved. The law will change. From this day, Varelians may choose their own truth, no matter the species." Evan let out a slow breath. Lyra looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she said. "We did." That evening, a small celebration was held in Lyra's home garden. Soft music played and glowing flowers floated in the air like fireflies. Evan stood at the center, dressed in a traditional Varelian robe, deep blue with silver trim. Lyra wore a dress made of flowing fabric that shimmered like water. She looked like a goddess. "Your people are starting to smile at me," Evan joked as she approached. "You're becoming part of them," she said. Slowly, he smiled. "Do you regret it?" She stepped close. Not for a moment. Then she reached out and took his hand. "Evan Carter," she said softly. "You asked me once, if you kissed me, how would I react?" He nodded. "I remember." Her voice was calm. "Now I have an answer." He stared at her, heart racing. "And?" She leaned in, gently. Their lips met in a kiss. Slow, soft, and full of feeling. It wasn't rushed or wild. It was calm, like the stars, deep, like the oceans, and warm, like the fire that had started between them the moment she crashed into his world. When they pulled away, Lyra looked into his eyes and whispered, "That is how I react." Evan was speechless. He smiled, laughed softly, and finally said, "I think that was the best answer I've ever heard." The celebration continued, but for Evan and Lyra, time slowed. They sat together under the glowing trees, hands touching, hearts open. Lyra rested her head on Evan's shoulder. "There's still work ahead. My people are slow to change." "I'm used to slow," Evan said. "I lived alone for 2 years, remember?" She chuckled. "Not anymore." They stayed that way for a long time, watching the stars above. Two beings from different worlds, now bonded forever, not by force, not by law, but by choice, by truth, by love.